Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Sto Tadatashri Srimad Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shikoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shirvaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavavinda Ki Jai Samagata Bhaktavinda Ki Jai All glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Saurito Gaurode Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamo Nido Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tanamani Namaste Sarasati Devaya Gauravani Picharni Shri Shishuni Vari Pastate Deshitarni. Reading today from Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi Lila, Chapter 13, text beginning from text 91 up to text 95. We'll chant, recite the translation of the first text, beginning with text 91. Akalanka Gora Chanda Dila Darashan Sakalanka Chandre Ar Kon Prayojan. Translation. When the spotless moon of Caitanya Mahaprabhu became visible, what would be the need for a full moon, for a moon full of black marks on its body? So this verse is just a statement about the appearance of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and then the next verse explains why this verse has been included in the text. Text 92. Eta Jani Rahu Koila Chandra Grahan Krishna Krishna Hari Name Bhasi Tribhuvan. Considering this, Rahu, the black planet, covered the full moon, and immediately vibrations of Krishna, Krishna, Hari inundated the three worlds. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to the Jyotir Veda, a lunar eclipse takes place when the Rahu planet comes in front of the full moon. It is customary in India that all the followers of the Vedic scriptures bathe in the Ganges or the sea as soon as there is a lunar or solar eclipse. All strict followers of the Vedic religion stand up in the water throughout the whole period of the eclipse and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. At the time of the birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such a lunar eclipse took place, and naturally, all the people standing in the water were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Text 93. Joya Joya Dhvani Hoila, Sakala Bhuvan, Chamatkar Hoya, Loka Bhave Maniman. All people thus chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra during the lunar eclipse, and their minds were struck with wonder. Text 94. Jagat Bhariya Loka Bole Hari Hari, Shri Kane Gora Krishna Bhumi Avatari. When the whole world was thus chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in the form of Gaurhari, advented himself on the earth. So now we'll chant text 95 responsively. Prasanna Hoila Sabam Jagatera Man Hori Boli Hinduke Hasya Koraye Javan Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Others chant. Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Hinduke Hasya Javan. Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Na Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Mataji's. Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Prasanna Hoila Saba Jagatera Man Hari Boli Hinduke Hasya Kore Javan. Prasanna, joyful Hoila became Saba all Jagatera of the whole world. Man, the mind. Hari, the holy name of the Lord. Boli, saying. Hinduke, unto the Hindus. Hasya, laughing. Korae, do so. Javana, the Muslims. Translation: the whole world was pleased. While the Hindus chanted the holy name of the Lord, the non-Hindus, especially the Muslims, jokingly imitated the words. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Although Muslims or non-Hindus have no interest in chanting the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Muslims in Navadvip imitated the Hindus as they chanted during the lunar eclipse. Thus the Hindus and Muslims joined together in chanting the holy name of the Lord when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself. Prasanna hoila saba jagateraman hari boli hinduke hasya kore javan. The whole world was pleased while the Hindus chanted the holy name of the Lord. The non-Hindus, especially the Muslims, jokingly imitated the words. So we're very fortunate today to have the opportunity to discuss Caitanya Caritamrta in the association of pure devotees of the Lord. So this section is describing the advent of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and it talks about the particular, it sets the scene on the bank of the Ganges in Navadvip on the auspicious day of Purnima, when Caitanya Mahaprabhu was about to appear. So the first thing that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami talks about is that Rahu was thinking, what is the use of this ordinary moon? The moon is glorified by all the mundane poets as being such a beautiful object. But in Rahu's opinion, at least on this day, the moon is just covered with so many spots. It's not flawless. So he's thinking Caitanya Mahaprabhu is appearing now, and he's completely spotless, not like this ordinary moon. So just let me cover it. So this was his trick. According to the Hindu tradition, philosophy, a lunar eclipse, Chandragrahana, is considered to be inauspicious. That it's very during that time of the lunar eclipse, one should not do any mundane activities because it's very inauspicious for mundane things. One should keep oneself aloof from any material activities and simply chant the holy name of the Lord. So this is so even though it's materially speaking a very inauspicious time, by the spiritual calculation, it's very auspicious to chant the holy name. And at least for an hour or two, to give up one's attachments to material activities. So Rahu was thinking in this way, let's cover the moon, and then everyone will chant the holy name, and then everything will become very, very auspicious. So then all the Hindus, okay, they're seeing the Chandragrahana, they were chanting the holy name, but still everything was still very, very special. It describes here, Jaya Jaya Dhvani Hoila Sakala Bhuvan Chamatkar Hoya Alok Bhave Maneman. It says everyone was completely astonished. How is it that everything seems so auspicious at this time? Because everyone was chanting the holy name very enthusiastically. And then it goes on in the following two verses, it points out, Krishnadas Kaviraj points out one particular reason why it was why the atmosphere appeared to be so auspicious that everyone was struck with wonder. It's because everyone was chanting, not just the Hindus, the followers of the Vedic scriptures who were considered Chandragrahana to be inauspicious, and they wanted to take bath in the Ganges or in the ocean and chant the holy name. Not only were they chanting, but also the Javanas were also chanting. And that's why everyone was struck with wonder. How is it that everyone is chanting? And the sound of Hari Hari was completely inundating the whole world. So Krishnadas mentions this, that the Muslims were chanting jokingly, just like they were saying, the Hindus are saying Hari Hari Hari. Oh, look at this! They're so foolish. They're just chanting Hari Hari. They're chanting Krishna Krishna. They're chanting Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. This is foolishness. But still, they were chanting. They were chanting like that. So why? So because they were chanting also, then it made everything more auspicious. Even though they were chanting jokingly, it made everything more and more auspicious. So we should understand, this is a very subtle philosophy. Why the Muslims were chanting jokingly made everything more auspicious. We can ask a question. Srila Prabhupada says very clearly on that record album, milk touched by the lips of the serpent has poisonous effect. Right? You've all heard that statement of Srila Prabhupada. He says, if you hear the holy name from a Mayavadi, says it causes poisonous effect. It was very inauspicious. But here the Muslims, they're chanting the holy name, jokingly, making fun of the Hindus, and it's considered to be very auspicious. So we should understand this Nam Tattva, this philosophy of the holy name. In the 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Ajamil story. We're all familiar with the Ajamil story. There's one verse that specifically talks about why everything was very auspicious when the Muslims were chanting the holy name. The verse is Sanketyam parihasyam va stobam helanam eva va Vaikuntha nama grahanam ashesh aga harang vidu. Sanketyam parihasyam va stobam helanam eva va. So this is describing one type of namabhas. The holy name has different manifestations. The two categories of manifestations are Shuddhanam and Namabhas. Actually, the holy name is completely pure, but because there's different levels of chanters, so their chanting is put into two categories. It's not that the name itself is different categories. The name is always pure and auspicious. But there's two basic categories of chanters. Those that chant Shuddhanam and those that chant Namabhas. So and within the category of Namabhas, there's two divisions. One is called Chaya Namabhas, and one is called Pratibimba Namabhas. So we should understand this philosophy. Do you know what is Chaya and what is Pratibimba? Does everyone understand? No? Chaya means shadow. Chaya is a shadow. Like the Prabhu is sitting here, there's light coming from the door, and his shadow is there on the floor. His Chaya is there. That's shadow. And Pratibimba means reflection. If you stand in front of a mirror, then there's a reflection. You can see your face in the mirror. It's a reflection. So Namabhas is divided into two categories. One is compared to the shadow, and one is compared to the reflection in the mirror. So so what is the difference? Prabhu is sitting in the chair, and you can see, those who are sitting close by, they can see he has the shadow is reflecting on the floor. Can you understand who is sitting there by that shadow? Just some vague darkness is there, right? Just some, but if you put your right hand out lift your right hand. Now you see the shadow moves, and the right side of the shadow is also moving, right? But if you stand in front of a mirror and you raise your right hand, what does the reflection in the mirror do? Left hand. So there's a difference. And just like you cannot see very clearly what is the Chaya, but when you see Pratibimba, everything is very clear. You can see eyes and nose and hair and all the features are there, but it's backwards. So this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, it describes the Chaya type of Namabhas. Sanketyam parihasyam va stobam helaram eva va vaikunta nama grahanam asheshaga harang vidu. So sanketyam means indicating something else. So Ajamil is the best example of sanketyam, Chaya Namabhas. That Ajamil, he was calling his son. He was not meaning to chant the holy name of the Lord. He was called his son Narayan. So he said, Narayan, Narayan, help me. He was thinking like that. Narayan should help me. So he called the name of Narayan. But but it actually was the holy name. He was chanting the holy name. And it wasn't by chance that his son was named Narayan. He was from a Hindu family, and there was a Namkaran ceremony was there when his son was born, and the sadhus that came and performed the Namkaran ceremony, they decided upon the name Narayan. So it was actually it was the holy name. So all the time Ajamil was thinking of his son and chanting Narayan, Narayan. He was chanting the holy name because it was connected. Just like you see Prabhuji's shadow, if you look at his lotus feet, you can see that the shadow extends down to his lotus feet. It's connected. So Chayanamabhas is connected to the holy name. But the features are not clear. So Ajamil, he wasn't thinking of, he was just chanting Narayan. He was a completely materialistic person. He had no interest in serving the Supreme Lord. He wasn't doing any sadhana. He wasn't following any rules and regulations. He was very, very sinful. But that holy name he was chanting was connected to the original holy name through that Namkaran ceremony. So he was chanting connectedly. Then the next Parihasyam is the next. Sanketang Parihasyang Va. Parihasyang means jokingly, like described here in this section of Chaitanya Caritamrta. Just making fun of someone who's chanting the holy name by chanting, oh, Krishna, Krishna. You think you'll get something by chanting Krishna, Krishna. So now he's also chanting, even though it's not pure chanting, but it's there. He's repeating the words said by the devotees who are chanting. So it's connected. That holy name that the Muslims were chanted were connected to the holy name that was chanted by the Vaishnavas and was connected to Krishna. Then Stobam. Stobam is like some musical arrangement, or you Hari Hari Hari. In order to practice their singing or whatever, or musical instruments, someone may use the holy name like that, or they may chant some verses which include the holy name without any understanding of what the meaning of the verse is, like that. That's Stobam. So that's also Chaya. It's also Chaya Namabhas. It's connected because they heard the name before. They think it's nice to chant the holy name even though they don't know the meaning. So they're just chanting for some enjoyment, some musical composition, something like that. So that's Stobam. And then Helanam. Helanam means disrespectfully. So someone who's an atheist, he may hear someone preaching about Krishna. He says, "Oh, you're Krishna. What will he give to you?" Or he said, or he may hear some story about Krishna, and that Krishna danced with the gopis or whatever. They were not married. So that Krishna was just a debauchee. So it's like that, but it's chanting the holy name. And he knows who Krishna. He knows that Krishna is a person. So it's connected. But there's no in Chayanamabhas. There's no sadhana. There's no sadhana practice. There's no rules and regulation. There's no formality about the whole thing. It's a shadow. It's like a shadow of the real thing, of a devotee chanting the holy name. So it's a shadow. So it's auspicious. Now we understand now what is this Pratibimba Namabhas. Pratibimba is just like in a reflection in a mirror. Is it connected to the original? No. It's disconnected. So this is like the Mayavadis chanting. When the Mayavadis chant the holy name, this is Pratibimba Namabhas. They accept it as a sadhana. They do it every day. They follow rules and regulations. They dress puck away. They're very clean. Everything looks like bhakti, but there's no bhakti. It's backwards, like Pratibimba's backwards. So The Mayavadis, they look, if you look at them, chanting the holy name, their interest is to become one with Krishna. That's their interest in chanting the holy name, to become one with Krishna. So and they do everything pakka. So it looks exactly like the devotees in the temple chanting the holy name in bhakti. But there's no bhakti, it's backwards. That's pratibimba namabhas. So we also say namaparad. Pratibimba namabhas is the same as namaparad. We can say that, use that. Those terms are used synonymously in the Shastra. So this kind of chanting we avoid. Not because it isn't the holy name. The holy name is there when the Mayavadis chant. The holy name is always pure, and we avoid because there's an impersonal conception that's associated with that. So by associating with such people who chant the holy name like that, then we can become contaminated by their impersonal conception. So we avoid association with those who chant pratibimba namabhas. So here, in this Bhagavatam verse that we're discussing, Sanketyam parihasyam vastobam helanam eva va vaikunta nama grahanam ashesh aga harang vidu. So by chanting the holy name, even with in these four ways, Sanketyam parihasyam stobam helanam, if we chant the holy name in one of these four ways, Vaikunta nama grahanam, ashesh aga harang, unlimited sins are destroyed. Unlimited sins. Just one holy name chanted will destroy unlimited sins if chanted in this way. Neglectfully, to mean something else, jokingly, as a musical composition. Just one chanting so these Muslims when they were chanting the holy name, imitating the Hindus, making fun of the Hindus, all their sins were completely destroyed. So everyone was sinless in the world at that point in time. Caitanya Mahaprabhu advent. Everyone was sinless because of the chanting of the holy name was spread everywhere in the whole world. So we should. There's a nice story also in Antya Lila. I'll just review that story. It's about Haridas Thakur at the home of Hiranmaya and Majumdar, is that it? The parents of Raghunath Das Goswami, parents and uncle. So, from 170, yes. So there's a story about Haridas Thakur. One day Balaram Acharya requested Haridas Thakur with great humility to come to the assembly of the Majumdars, Hiranya and Govardhan. Thus Balaram Acharya went there with Haridas Thakur. Seeing Haridas Thakur, the two brothers immediately stood up and fell at his lotus feet. Then with great respect they offered him a place to sit. These were Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar were very wealthy Vaishnavas, very highly respected Vaishnava businessmen in West Bengal, and they had they were very, very pious. And they, even though Haridas Thakur was a Muslim, they respected him greatly. He came into the assembly and they offered him a place to sit. In that assembly were many learned scholars, Brahmins, and respectable gentlemen. The two brothers, Hiranya and Govardhan, were also greatly learned. Everyone there began to speak of Haridas Thakur's great qualities as if they had 5 mouths. Hearing this, both brothers were extremely happy. It was mentioned in the assembly that Haridas Thakur chanted the holy names of Krishna 3 lakh times a day. Thus all the learned scholars began to discuss the glories of the holy name. Some of them said, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is freed from the reactions of all sinful life. Others said, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, a living being is liberated from material bondage. These are certainly true statements. Haridas Thakur protested. These 2 benedictions are not the true result of chanting the holy name. Actually, by chanting the holy name without offenses, one awakens his ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Krishna. When a person has actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Liberation and extinction of the reactions of sinful life are 2 concomitant byproducts, just additional benefits of chanting the holy name of the Lord. An example is found in the gleams of morning sunlight. And then a famous verse was repeated. He repeated a famous verse. Anghak sangharad akilam sakrid udayad eva sakala lokasya tarinir eva timara jaladim jayati jagan mangalam herer nama. As the rising sun immediately dissipates all the world's darkness, which is deep like an ocean, so the holy name of the Lord, if chanted once without offenses, dissipates all the reactions of a living being's sinful life. All glories to that holy name of the Lord, which is auspicious for the entire world. So it says that just like the rising sun, immediately, just even before the sun comes up above the horizon, you can start, everything is dark first, and then the sun, even before the sun comes up, immediately you can see. You can begin to see everything. And any fear that you had from the darkness, gone. Just by the first rays of the morning sunlight. So he says, this verse says, similarly, just the first rays of the holy name, it's just some initial chanting of the holy name, without any proper sadhana, without rules and regulations, without all the trappings of Vaishnavism, or even understanding who is Krishna. If there's just some dim reflection of the holy name, immediately sins are destroyed and one becomes liberated. So is that the true glory of the sun? The fact that when the first rays come, that it destroys all your fear at night? No. When the sun fully comes up, then you can do your morning duties and you can go about your daily work. So it is not so he's saying, just like that, the fact that the holy name destroys sins is not a very important glory of the holy name. Just like in the morning we sing this prayer when we're circumambulating Tulsi. Yani kani cha papani brahmahatya dikani cha tani tani parasyanti pradakshana pare pare. So, just in case you killed any Brahmins that morning, you circumambulating Tulsi, you become relieved of that. So that's a nice glory of Tulsi Devi. Actually, this verse is cited in some old songbooks as Sadharana Parikrama mantra. Just general Parikrama mantra for any kind of circumambulating of the deity or whatever. That mantra is there. Because it's true, when you circumambulate, if someone who's not a devotee, if they circumambulate the deity of the Lord, or they circumambulate Tulsi, then their sins are destroyed. But that is not the real glory of the deity, that is not the real glory of, the ultimate glory of Tulsi Devi. So similarly. So then Haridas Thakur, he explains, he asked the learned scholars to explain the verse. But everyone said, no, you explain. So he said, so then he explained, with the first glimpse of sunlight, fear of thieves, ghosts, and demons immediately disappears. And when the sun is actually visible, everything is manifest. And everyone begins performing his religious activities and regulative duties. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the holy name has awakened dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. And when one chants the holy name offenselessly, one awakens to service and ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. So this is very important. You can see these three divisions. If one chants offensively, one gets the benefit of the holy name, but delayed. Padma Purana Namaikam Yasyavachi Smarana Patakatam Shrotamulam Gatangva Shuddhangva Shuddhangva. That's also, that verse is also cited here in Caitanya Caritamrta. That if one chants offensively, you said that verse just says that if simply one name of the holy name, one holy name will destroy all sins. But if one chants offensively, then that benefit is delayed. One still, the holy name is always auspicious, the benefit is always there. But if one chants offensively, then the benefit is later. If one chants without offense, either Shuddhanam or Chaya Namabhas, then one immediately gets this benefit, that all sins are destroyed, one becomes liberated. And then, by chanting offensively, then one begins on the path and progresses to Shuddha Bhakti, and progresses to Shuddhanam. And by Shuddhanam, one gets the ultimate benefit of chanting the holy name, which is love of Krishna. So we should understand these three stages. The holy name is always auspicious, and we encourage everyone to chant it regardless of their stage that they're on, because it's auspicious no matter what position they're in. But we should understand that there's different results based upon who the chanter is and what their mood is. If they're offensive, they still should chant, and eventually they'll get the benefit. If they don't know anything, if they're not a devotee, but they're chanting with some sort of innocence, then we encourage them to chant. Come and participate in the kirtan like that. We encourage them to chant, and they'll immediately get liberated from their past sinful activity. Of course, they may again commit sins and again become entangled, but they don't become permanent liberation. Only comes with bhakti, but at least all the sins they've committed up to that point in time become destroyed. So we encourage them, and then by that Namabhas chanting, just singing along with the devotees, then one becomes eligible to take up the process of Shuddha Bhakti by associating with devotees. And then one can, by chanting the pure holy name, Shuddhanam, then one can come to the stage of pure Bhakti. So this is some lessons from this verse of Caitanya Caritamrta. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Any questions, comments from the learned Vaishnavas? Yes.
Harishma, thank you for a wonderful class. So in Harinam Chintamani, Bhakta Thakur, he also mentions real Namabhas, or Shraddha Namabhas. Is there a difference between Shraddha Namabhas and Chaya Namabhas?
I can't hear from the speaker. Can someone, did you hear what he said? Someone who heard what he said can come and tell me? Come. Shraddha.
Shraddha Namabhas.
What's that first word? Shraddha. Shraddha, faith. The Chaya Namabhas says no Shraddha. One doesn't necessarily, the Muslims, they don't have any faith in Krishna. Jamil didn't have any faith in Narayan. There's no Shraddha there. But there wasn't offensive, but it's not offensive. So therefore the liberation comes immediately. Something more? Yes, Prabhu. Stand up and
that there are two types of chanters as you gave the discourse. One is the pure chanter and the other is one who is chanting with Namabhas. And my understanding through the class was that this Namabhas is not performed by devotees, because the four types of Chaya Namabhas that you mentioned, Sanket, Parihas, Helenam, and this is all done by non-devotees mainly, because they have no faith, they are atheists. But devotees, those who want to aspire to become devotees, when they chant, normally it is with offense. It is not in the pure category. So they are below the Namabhas stage.
Not a goal. Namabhas is not the goal of devotee. That's what you're saying. One may commit some aparad. The devotees may commit some aparad. That's not, if they commit one of the 10 offenses are there. That's not Shuddhanam. The one's not chanting Shuddhanam. Where devotees are aspiring for Shuddhanam, and they're chanting in the association of Shuddha Bhaktas. So there may be some intermittent offense that comes, but they don't have a Mayavad conception. So the offensiveness is very minor. So, and it's mixed with, and sometimes they're chanting purely also. So we aspire to give up the offenses and come to the pure stage. All I can say. Yes, but it's not Chaya Namabhas. Or it may, well, it could be, but they're trying to clear themselves of offenses. So they're trying to clear themselves. Yes, that's can I say? They're trying to clear themselves of offenses, and then by associating with devotees, then the offenses will go. Yeah. That's correct. Yes.
After that Namabhas, devotees go to Sudhana. Offensive, but that is real Namabhas.
Yes, that's very good. Very good point. Everyone hear that? Repeat. That devotees who have faith, they're chanting. They're not chanting Chaya Namabhas. They're chanting with Shraddha. So that's Shraddha Namabhas. So that's higher than Chaya Namabhas. They have faith in Krishna. They're not like the Mayavadis who have no faith at all with Pratibimba. I wasn't making that distinction, but that's an important point. Yes. Mainly, I was discussing about the Chaya Namabhas because that's the subject of the text today. Okay. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. Shri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai.